Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vought. I'm one of your hosts, the Homelander memes, and the other host of the podcast is right here. Say hi, Vought.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Vought Productions. Hello, hello.
Today we have a very special guest star. She is number one in the boys Tumblr community. She has the number one largest page. While Instagram's a bit different than Tumblr likes wise, she's got about as good as you get. So this is Pineapple. Say hi, Pineapple.
Hello, I'm a pineapple of Fuck Yeah, the Boys Prime and Pineapples Perhaps on Tumblr.
Yeah, so what do you do? Go ahead and kind of plug what you do. I know Tumblr's kind of a mix mash of like everything, but just
Yeah,
kind
it's really a good little mix of like Instagram and Twitter, I'd say. Like you've got a lot of memes, you got some cool fan art and edits, and there's people just having discussions about the show in general, and it's a good time for the most part.
Have you ever made fan art?
I haven't. I can't draw to save my life. I tried
Oh,
my hand at an edit once, but my computer sucks, so that didn't work either.
yeah.
damn.
So, what kind of content then would you say that you make on both accounts? And is one account different than the other, or kind of like what does your page look like?
Yeah. So on the main one, it's just about the boys in general. I do a lot of like reposting of creators who I think are doing some really cool stuff, and I put some of my own theories out there and some of my own just comments on the show, and a few little like memes and incorrect quotes and stuff like that.
I love the incorrect quotes. I can't believe you do that.
Oh my gosh, those are so fun.
You'll have
Yeah.
to send me some. I seriously love them.
Yeah, I'll look through the tag and send you some good ones. Oh, and also with the boys one, really my goal with that is just to kind of make it like a space that, any fan of the show would like want to be on. Like I'm not only talking about certain characters or I'm not like bashing anything that I don't like or something. I just kind of keep it very neutral.
Yeah, so as far as like so then you also have the Pineapples Perhaps page, right? So what would you say that is?
Right. So that one, so like the Frenchie Kimiko sort of shippers or whatever on Tumblr, it's a lot of a smaller thing, but everyone's just so into it. Like you've got
They're passionate about it.
yes, they're very passionate.
It's kind of like that on Instagram too. At least the people that are still posting.
They have
You're
like
kind
a little community for that too.
yeah,
Oh,
there's
cool.
definitely
I've never come across that.
some people. A lot of people go inactive between seasons.
Yeah, that's true. I'm kind of guilty of that a bit. Like I've tried
Yeah,
not to, but
ever since like I had to put my account on private because someone tried like mass reporting me.
mhm.
It sucks because I haven't been able to like get posts out there, so I don't even really bother posting on there
Right.
until the next season comes out. That I'm super excited for. Are you excited for that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm like I have so many questions and I
Oh,
just need to see it now. Yeah.
I know. So many questions unanswered. So, what do you think was the better cliffhanger, or just the better ending in general? Did you like the cliffhanger in season one when Butcher wakes up and
Oh,
sees
I did.
Becca?
I remember just being blown away by that the first time.
Oh
Like,
my gosh, it's
yeah, I was
art.
not expecting that.
The way that scene is like, uh, what's it called? Filmed, like the
hmm
cinematography is amazing. Like, and you hear the music playing in the background. It's so memorable. You
Yeah.
know.
And especially like at that point, I had never even heard of the comics. I had no idea what was going on. So I did not expect anything. So I was like, okay,
Uh,
Butcher's dead or whatever.
yeah, VP, you didn't read the comics, right? I think
Right.
we discussed this last.
Yeah, I haven't read the comics. I'm familiar with a lot that happens in them, but I have not actually read them. So, but I get the general gist. But
I guess Homelander is the only one who's actually read them out of the three of us.
I told this on the other pod. So I actually ended up reading all of the comics in one night after seeing someone's Instagram story that said, "Oh, I just love this. I heard they're going to make a TV show." And basically, the only picture I was shown before I read it was Terror. And
Oh, nice.
that's Butcher's, like that's Butcher's dog.
Yeah.
Well, in the comics, and it actually shows a little in the show, he trains the dog to fuck anything. And he says, Terror, fuck it. And the dog fucks anything. And that's the panel I saw. I was like, what the fuck is this? So I started reading it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is superheroes, but they're like crazy, naked and shit. And I was like, yo,
With
this is pretty awesome. Oh, dude, have you heard of Hero Gasm?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
this
remember
is just the
reading about that.
beginning. You know?
Yeah, with the terror thing, I remember hearing about like that's why they hired that specific dog or whatever to
Yeah.
play terror, and then when he got on set, like he couldn't do it. It was- and
Yo, we got stage fright.
I guess so. He was supposed to like hump the pig and whatever, and like he just wouldn't.
Yeah, I remember there was a funny like I forgot exactly what the quote was, but Jack Quaid was talking about it because I think Jack Quaid was like one of the people that was trying to get Tara to do it.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that's funny. I can just imagine Jack just sitting there just
Oh
trying to
my
get.
gosh.
Oh, Carl Urban, have you seen the outtakes? He liked the dog. The
Oh
dog
yeah.
actually follows me on Instagram, Bentley.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I'm just still wondering how a dog can use Instagram. They don't have thumbs.
The mystery.
Those little like floor buttons that have the words. Have you seen
Yeah.
those? Yeah,
Yeah.
something to do with that, I bet.
All right.
Uh,
So pineapple, you said so like your second page is really like Frenchie and Kimiko. So I guess obviously I would assume they're your favorite part of the show, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's why I started that's why I decided to watch season 2 because like I kind of forgotten about the show after I watched season 1 and I only just kind of remembered liking, Frenchie and Kimiko. And then I heard that season 2 was coming out and I was like, "Wait a minute, that had that really cute ship that I kind of liked." So I rewatched the whole thing and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so into this now." And yeah, so that's why I even got into the fandom like actually.
why are you drawn to these two characters, would you say?
Yeah, there's really a lot of reasons, some of which are kind of hard to describe. But one of the main things I really like about it is how they both just are kind of like 'cause Kimiko, she's becoming more of her own person and just like becoming really humanized after like being treated like an animal for all this time. And I think Frenchie's on sort of a similar but different journey.
Frenchie, he was mistreated too, and he had a
Yeah,
rough childhood, and he sympathizes, I think.
definitely. Like, cause when you see him, before Kimiko shows up, he's just kind of this like, I wake up next to a different woman every night, kind of like whatever.
Popping
And then,
pills.
and then when you see him with Kimiko that first time, like in the Radio Shack thing, he's this entirely different person. She just like brings out this whole other side of him, and I think
Yeah.
that makes him realize he can be something other than this guy he's been masquerading as this whole time, and he can actually kind of heal and care about something.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Frenchie's definitely an interesting character. I mean, you see him like I guess I hadn't really thought of that before about how she brings out a different side of him, but now for some reason like in my head I can picture the scene where like she's showing him like how to say a gun and he's like smiling while he's doing it and stuff.
Yeah,
And I guess it's like I guess Kimiko kind of brings out the side of Frenchie that like really cares about people because you kind of see like doesn't really show that side of himself too much, but yet for Kimiko, like he really does like care about her,
hmm
like a lot. And he
'Cause-
tries, that whole thing about like him trying to like quote unquote like save her and everything. Like,
yeah, because I think he said something about like him trying to save her
Wait.
was also his attempt to like save himself or something. And
Yeah, big question. Who brings out the better side of who?
I think both of them honestly, because Kimiko, she probably because he treated her like a human from the beginning, right? And everyone else was just like she's kind of
She's no
kill us
Spice
and stuff.
Girl.
Yeah, and like he there's just like little details like in episode 8 he brings her like a chocolate bar and like and whatever and like just the way that he's really gentle with her but like not in a condescending way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's the only one early on that doesn't treat her like a monster, pretty much. And Huey kind
Yeah,
of goes
exactly.
with it too, just because but Huey's more like scared of her. I think Frenchie's the only one who like isn't scared of her, but also treats her normal. Because like Butcher isn't scared of her, but he's like, I'll shoot her, right? Like that's just
Yes.
Remember she broke Mesmer's wrist?
Yeah, and
Oh,
he just like he did not care. He was just like worried about Kimiko and that was just so cute and weird.
Yeah, and he wasn't even like explicitly hitting on her at first. He just genuinely wanted to get to know her.
Yeah.
But remember when her brother died and Frenchie was on like a bunch of drugs and he kissed her.
That was quite the mistake. I remember just screaming at the TV, not literally screaming, but that was such a moment. Oh my gosh, it's like the worst thing he could have done.
It might even be comparably worse than that scene where he screamed that there was an RPG that can stop Stormfront.
Yeah,
I can't
it's
tell which
almost as
one's
bad as
worse.
that. So honestly, from like a writing perspective, I think they may have had to throw that in just so their relationship didn't like go too far too quickly. Because if they hadn't had some sort of divide in season 2, they would be too close, by the end of season 2, and it'd be like, what do we do with them now?
I guess they were like progressing at a pretty decent rate, but you still have Butcher in the way. Butcher's kind of in the way of everybody, honestly, but
Right.
How's Butcher in the way?
because he doesn't like Kimiko really, and he still, I mean, he doesn't like.
He tolerates her now in season 2.
He does a little bit, but
I don't think they have any
Yeah, I
conflict.
think
It's
he's
more like
sort of
Starflick.
accepted
Yeah,
that she's on their team by this point.
she's a Spice Girl.
I guess throughout season 1 he definitely hated her. And in
Oh,
season
yeah.
2 he changes his mind and hates Annie instead. So now in season 3, who will he hate in season 3? Nobody knows.
Yeah. He needs a new woman to hate.
Right. But I guess like as far as like those two go, because I guess between the two ships, you would definitely say that Frenchie and Kimiko is like slightly less popular than Hughie and Annie. So I'm curious kind of like what draws you to them too. I know we talked a little bit before recording about how the show almost tries to force you to like Hughie and Annie. So is that kind of what pushed you away from those two? Or
Yeah, I mean, I guess nothing really pushed me away from Huey and Annie necessarily. It's just, it never really got my attention. It's just another two normal white millennials falling in love. Like, okay, that happens. Uh,
Yo, I agree with you
yeah.
100%.
right. Yeah, because Frenchie and Kimiko, they're a little bit different because like
They don't complain.
well, Kimiko doesn't talk, so I guess she doesn't complain. And then
And Frenchie's an OG.
she's not complaining either.
So, who do you think would win in a fight, Frenchie or Huey?
Oh, Frenchie. Absolutely.
How about you, VP? Who would win?
Definitely Frenchie, but be careful though, because Huey's got the detonator. Even though Frenchie made the bomb, but Huey's got a detonator. You can never mess with the man with the detonator. But
I guess in any other context, I mean, Frenchie's got the knife skills and the guns.
I don't know.
It's a lot more experience.
Come on, what did Huey do in season 1 and 2? Since he's
He
been
accidentally did something useful half the time.
he cut off Lamplighter's head. He's innovative.
Okay, that's
Oh,
true.
Good at improvising.
that was
He's
a
getting
good
better
move.
for sure.
Yeah, he complained a lot in season 2, but whatever. They wanted to use that story arc for some reason. I feel like they focused too much on that. But
Yeah,
VP here will disagree. Oh, you agree?
I mean, I don't know. Like Huey's an interesting character, but I think he definitely does whine a lot. That's for sure.
Do you relate?
Huey whining?
Yeah.
No, not necessarily. I mean, I think he's got every reason to.
Why do you like him?
I mean, I like him because he's not like he's kind of just like a casual kid that's just thrown into like a terrible situation. I feel like the way that he reacts to a lot of stuff, especially in season 1, would be kind of just like how like your average person would react to it. Like he just seems more relatable, I guess, and just in terms of like the way he like approaches things. Like I don't know. Like yeah, he does whine a lot, but I think he just kind of showcases the side of like I don't know, because like he fights with like his inner self of like he's trying to be like independent and like on his own and like badass and stuff, but he's still like
Bitch.
has to deal with all this like traumatizing stuff too, and he like just kind of like fights those two sides. Okay, so as far as Frenchie and Kimiko go, like what would you say is your favorite? Like, give me like your top 3 like favorite scenes with them,
Okay.
or just your favorite scene. Doesn't have to be top 3.
Okay, so this is weirdly specific, but there's the one scene where they're like watching TV together about like shark, and if you look at the subtitles of what the TV like is saying, it's just like this weird parallel talking about like the female of the species reciprocating feelings, and then that's like when Kimiko holds his hand, and
He's called
just
the
like that
female.
detail. Like, exactly. Yeah. So like that was just such a really cute detail.
I think I
But
noticed that. I think I noticed that too.
and then obviously the Radio Shack scene when they first, meet.
At Radio Shack? I think you're
Or
thinking of Robin.
no, isn't it like it's in the subway
Oh
and
yeah, you're right.
they're
It's the
chasing her?
subway.
Yeah. I feel like I'm
So
missing a really important one, and I'm gonna hate it when I go back and listen to this.
Yeah,
I
you're gonna listen. You're gonna listen to the pod and just be like, "Why did I forget that one scene?" It's okay. You can
Yeah.
comment it though. I'll read your comment.
Okay. I know my friend his username is Legends of Entity. He's gonna get on me like, why didn't you say this? Why didn't you say this? But yeah. And I guess the
Yeah.
third one, oh, the baking scene. That's the one I was thinking. Yeah, the baking scene's really cute.
you.
But that's
Any season 2 ones?
season two has a lot of pain. But I guess it's I liked, when she was really doubting herself before they went to go after Stormfront, that whole season or episode 8 thing. And he's like,
Who's doubting herself?
yeah, she's like, I'm not gonna be able to, do what I have to when I see Stormfront. And Frenchie says something about like, if there's anything I know about you, you can take care of yourself. And that's just kind of like the whole summation of their season two, like, journey or whatever.
Yeah, because they definitely do have a lot of moments that are like painful, and then like a lot that are pleasant. I'm trying to think how they compare versus Huey and Annie in terms of like how their plot goes. Because Frenchie and Kimiko, I guess the one big difference with them two is they both know like who each other are basically, kind of like from the beginning. I mean, Frenchie doesn't know the extent of her past, but he knows who she is.
As a
Right.
person.
That she's like a killer and stuff.
Mhm.
But or not like
A
well, not like
vicious
that
one.
way. But she's capable of being one basically. Like he can't like basically mess around with her. Whereas like Huey, like Annie has no idea like what Huey's up to. Like she thinks he's just like some random guy. And then
Right. Yeah.
I
So theirs was kind of a relationship founded on lies at the beginning, at least.
right,
Yeah.
whereas yeah, Kimiko and Frenchie like they both already knew each other. It was just like or not knew each other, but they both knew who
were
each other were.
broken.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they were willing to kind of almost in a way like slowly bond over that. I think Kimiko was just really walled up from like all of her past experiences and everything that she was kind of scared to let somebody in. Like Frenchie
You-
didn't lie to her, so there's that.
Do
Is
you
there any
know
way I could
why?
change? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Wait.
Go
Is there
ahead.
any way I could change one of my answers for the favorite scenes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I actually remember the one I was trying to think of. It was
Okay.
the scene at Mesmer's,
Well,
where he
really, I
learns
really like
her
that
name.
too.
Yeah, because like you've got the whole thing where he's like uh he's like comforting her and whatever, and then when he's learns her name and he just like looks at her like she's just the only thing in the world, and he's like, "Bonjour, Kimiko," and yeah, so that's probably one of my favorite scenes.
I like that a lot, and we got to learn a bit about her past. Did you like Mesmer?
I mean, he served his purpose for sure.
And then got his face bashed in.
Yes, I think that was
Really.
fitting. But he also could have been really useful too. So I don't know.
Right. But he's a snitch. He went to Homelander.
So one of the scenes with Kimiko that I kind of like in season one, speaking of people getting bashed in, is when she shows up with Huey, like when A Train has Huey's dad hostage, and she basically shows up, like, and nobody knows that she's there. Like we don't even know that
Oh
she's
yeah,
there, but A Train's like, oh, I'm gonna like basically like kill your dad or whatever, and then Kimiko just shows up and just bashes
Yeah.
him in the leg,
That's why I
which
started liking her.
yeah, that was awesome.
yeah, and then Huey's like, yeah, you're right. It would have been stupid to come alone.
Right.
Yeah, that was an epic Huey moment.
I just
Classic.
wonder how A-Train didn't see her then. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
he,
she was
he was
hidden somewhere.
tweaking. He was
that's
tweaking,
true.
He was sweating and talking gibberish and
Hmm.
pissed off.
Yeah, I guess like the thing with A Train specifically too, it's interesting how his arc goes because he's like in the beginning, he obviously like I mean he hates Huey throughout like the whole season, but he tries to like convince Hughie that like the reason. Well, first he tries to say that Hughie killed Popclaw, which he knows isn't true because he knows he
Right.
killed her because he's the one that did it. And then like he kind of goes through that whole thing where like he starts kind of taking responsibility for like his own stuff. And he has that confrontation with Hughie at the end in episode 8 where he's like, you're right, actually, you didn't kill her, I did. So yeah, just that whole moment with him and Hughie share some scenes together that are really good.
Honestly, I think there's a keen difference on if you compare Huey and Annie to Kimiko and Frenchie. They're attracted to each other, I think, for totally different reasons. Like you said, I think they're more of like a millennial couple and complain all the time, is kind of realistic. But Kimiko and Frenchie have been through way more shit than them, and they
Yeah.
don't say anything. I mean, literally, Kimiko doesn't say anything, you know?
Right.
It's like, I think it says something about the characters. VP, do you think you could say anything on that?
I mean, yeah, Kimiko and Frenchie definitely are able. It seems like they're able to handle a lot of stuff better. I think Frenchie has the mentality of, oh, like I'm gonna fix it, right? Huey's mentality is more like I'm gonna complain about it and be upset about it, and Frenchie's like I'm gonna fix it even if it doesn't need fixing because he's like an inventor. Like that's just what he does. Like he plays with machines, he plays with toys, he tries to apply the same logic to people. Where he's like, oh, like I could just if they're hurting or whatever, like I can fix them. Which he realizes he can't with Kimiko, and he kind of comes to that realization, like, hey, like she's got to heal on her own. Like there's nothing I can do.
Mhm. He was pushing too hard. I know how he feels.
Right, like he was just kind of he was trying too hard, and ironically enough, when he doesn't try as hard is when kind of Kimiko starts to bond back towards him because he admits to her, which
Dude,
I think is a very
yeah.
powerful moment. And at the end of episode 6, when he kind of like sits down on the ambulance with her and says like, "Hey, like, look, like I've been trying to save you." Because it's my way of trying to rewrite my horrible past, and I shouldn't do that, and I'm sorry. And that was like a really powerful scene with them two because you finally understand why Frenchie's been obsessed with trying to fix her the whole time. And when he kind of opens up and is honest with her, I think that's what kind of helps them to finally bond
Yeah.
over that.
So one thing that is so true what you said, ain't that the truth, is that the less you try when you talk to girls, I feel like the more that I don't know, like they want to get to know you, or I don't know, it's like the more you try, the less good it does for you.
Is this like a personal insight
Well, yeah,
Just
because
like
into your
life
life?
advice with
into
Homelander.
into your life? Yes, life advice with Homelander.
well, look, it happened
All
with
right.
Frenchie. Frenchie pushed way too hard. Frenchie was a little horn dog while he was cooped up in the basement with Kimiko, and he goes in her little closet room thing and kisses her the day after her brother died.
Oh, that was because he was on drugs. Like that wasn't necessarily because he was trying too hard. I don't think. I don't think he would have done that were it not for the drugs.
Who knows? They don't even like go on about it. Like they show him doing drugs, they show him making that decision, but they never talk about it. Like I don't know.
They kind of bring it up because he
Yeah, they
goes to
do.
talk to Cherrie after, and she's like, "Why are you trying to kiss her dog?" And she's like, "Is that because what you wanted, or that's because you thought that's what she wanted?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, no, she definitely wanted that kiss." And she just kind of looks at him like, "I don't think she did." And he's like, "Okay,
Who
yeah,
says
you're
that?
probably right. You're
Who
probably
says
right."
that?
When he talks to Cherrie like after he does that, like he
Oh, and
goes
he,
to
yeah.
talk to her, and she's like, "Oh, like what are you doing, my guy?" So, which is kind of interesting how she's just like how her character's just like there. Like, what is her actual relationship with Frenchie?
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
what?
a
Well,
weird like business partners with benefits or something kind of thing.
I think they're like soulmates, but they're just figuring shit out in their relationship right now
What,
because a lot of
Cherrie
stuff.
and Frenchie?
I think Kimiko and Frenchie I was talking
Oh,
about.
yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. I don't know too much about Cherry. I mean, what does it tell us?
I mean, they don't show us too much of her. I mean, we see her like a little bit. Like, there's something definitely there with her and Frenchie. I'm just curious, like, what their past is and like how they really got into knowing each other. Because obviously, like, they're business partners and stuff. But he even goes to her like a couple times, like privately, like advice about stuff, and when he's like really broken and has no one else to go to. So clearly there's some kind of bond there. It's just why it happened and what extent it still goes to this day. I'm not really sure.
I don't
Yeah,
I don't need any more flashbacks though.
Right.
I think sometimes it's better to show don't tell, or wait,
Tell, don't show.
I guess so.
Yeah. I don't remember if this was a fan theory or like something that actually someone official actually said, but I heard something about like they might have grown up together or something, and then like, or maybe grown up together in the sense that like when Frenchie first came to America and stuff, like she was one of the first people that he found or something.
That's
I don't
definitely a
think.
fan theory because that's not the show.
Okay,
I can
yeah.
tell you that. Yeah, that's definitely.
Do
Yeah.
we know what Frenchie was in the past?
Well, he grew up with his dad in like Marseille, and he was really abused there. Then at one point when he was like a little older, he was in Algiers. But other than that, we don't know.
Interesting. Because we know a lot about Kimiko's past at this point, because we know about like where she was at originally and how like she was kind of like force fed, I guess is the word. I don't know, force injected with
Mhm.
Compound V and everything. And eventually she kind of came to America as well. Yeah, both their backstories are interesting, but we don't know. I mean, we just know that Frenchie's always been involved in shenanigans, right? Like he used to
Yeah.
be really badly like addicted to like drugs and stuff, but he was still always doing like shenanigans, like trying to like rob things and go after the soups, you
Mhm.
know. Which one thing that's kind of interesting to me, like one parallel that I noticed while watching the show, and this is slightly unrelated to Frenchie and Kimiko, but is during one of Frenchie's flashback scenes, like they have a scene with like Grace Mallory, and or I think it's when they flash back, yeah, when they flash back to like Butcher, like when they're all there, and she says a line to Butcher about like, I heard what happened to Becca, like I can help you get payback or whatever, and it's kind of like the same exact thing that Butcher does to Hughie, like, oh, I heard what happened to
Right.
Robin, but like I got
Exactly.
you. So it's like this weird, like never ending. It's almost like this weird, like never ending circle of just like a soup does something, and you got like this crazy team of people, and like the crazy team of people trying to go after the soups just gets like bigger and bigger. It's
Yeah.
just like
And it's
more
the same thing
nonsense.
with MM too.
It's true.
Like they didn't show it to us, but the whole
Oh yeah, his dad, right?
yeah.
And he talks about his dad was trying to fight Vought, but his dad tried to do it the right way.
hmm
So that's the difference. Is his dad tried to do it that
They
way.
killed him. You think
Yeah.
Stormfront killed him?
Didn't he like have a heart attack or something?
That's what they
That's what
said,
they.
but
Yeah,
technically we don't know.
It was
that's true.
covered up. It's implied.
Oh, but if I could go like really far back for like 1 second about the whole Kimiko Frenchie versus Hughie Annie thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
I know we're way past that. But I think another thing that's sort of like a similarity slash difference is that like Kimiko and Frenchie seem to be sort of made for the kind of environment they're in with the boys, like fighting for something and
They're killers.
kind of going with it. Yeah, they're like killers, but also and so
Softies.
they're sort of okay in that environment and they're okay where they are and just like with each other. Whereas with Huey and Annie, they're both really in situations that they like. I don't know if they're actively trying to escape from them, but like, Annie hates it in the seven, and Huey is always complaining about whatever the boys are doing, and just like they're both the only good thing they have is each other because that's their one time like outside of those environments. Whereas with Frenchie and Kimiko, they're just kind of thriving just in that place together.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting
Yeah.
that you bring that up because, with Huey and Annie, like they both of them have made comments like multiple times before about leaving.
hmm
They have that line in season 1, episode like 6, I think, when they have their first kiss where Huey's like, "Oh, let's go to like Pink Sands and whatever," and they kind of start laughing. They're like, "Wait, are we actually seriously talking about this?"
hmm
And which that would be cool to like see them end up in Pink Sands. I don't know. I'm kind of
That'd be so cute. Oh my gosh.
I feel like I'm really worried now for their like relationship arc just because I just have this weird like really bad feeling that for some reason the show is just going to like hijack their plot and just like completely run it into the ground. I don't know why. I just don't feel good about it. I mean, I felt that way though, to be fair, going into season 2 about Annie. Like I was kind of really nervous about her and she ended up being like fine. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, as far as Huey and Annie go, they're definitely not made for the world they're in. Because even though Annie was training to be a superhero, like she didn't really know what she was training for. Like she was just doing like beauty pageants and stuff and like, going to the Believe expos and everything. But she wasn't like designed to be like a killer, right? Or like to be in that kind of have like traumatic stuff like that happen. It was supposed to be like a fantasy, like fairy tale. Like,
Yeah,
oh, like I'm
she's
gonna
an
go to this
overrated soup.
Oh, I'll fight you on that.
I know
You know
you
what?
will.
I hope in season 3 she just goes off. She just goes off on everybody except for Huey. Don't go off on Huey. Leave Huey alone. But she goes off on everybody else. Have her kill Homelander. There we go.
That'd be
That'll
cool.
be a shock. That'll be a shock. No, that definitely won't happen. But
They won't though. But
definitely not.
I don't think she could if she tried.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Could she burn his eyes out?
He'd burn her right back.
That's true.
He'd burn her right back. Did you watch Invincible? When Omni-Man gets his... he gets, like, a superhero tries to put his thumbs in his eye sockets, and his eyes weren't even affected. They just turned red. I bet the same thing would happen.
The Homelander, right. No, it's definitely weird to, like, try to think about what happens if the soups fight each other, because, like, the show tries to get... kind of like dodges that a little bit. I mean, they have like Starlight and Noir fight each other, but then Maeve comes in, and they have like Starlight and A-Train fight each other, and then A-Train has a heart attack. But as far as like who would actually win, like who's the most powerful, I mean, obviously Homelander's the most powerful, but maybe you could argue that maybe Noir could take him. And then it's like this weird, like, it's almost like a weird like food web tree of like who would kill who.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if you redo the fight with Starlight and Black Noir, where Noir doesn't get a jump on her first, if Starlight wins. Because I think the main reason why he beat her is because he is like specialized in close range fighting, and Starlight is not, despite how many times she wants to punch people for some reason. He kind of got the jump on her, and I think, you're just not going to win when he just comes up from behind and like starts throwing you through tables and stuff. Like you're just not going to like be able to really get your footing. I think if they were both like squared off, she might stand a chance because she could just keep blasting him, right? Like he wouldn't be able to get close in theory.
Mm-hmm. But just, I guess it depends on like how strong he is, in the sense that like how much would that affect him? I mean, he's taken a lot and just walked right out of it.
Right. She just keeps blasting him into the wall, and he just stands back up and walks towards her again, and then she just blasts him back into the wall. I'm like, nobody ever wins. She's just sitting there just blasting him. And then eventually they just call it off. They're like, okay, this is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, forget it.
Yeah.
So I guess so far, like as far as season 3 speculations go, the only thing we've gotten so far is like the Vought News Network things, which kind of give us a general idea of like where we're going with season 3. But what do you guys think about those? Like the 2 like recording episodes we've had so far. Like, do you like the idea? Do you like the stuff they've done in them? Like, what are your thoughts? Yes.
Yeah, I really can't wait till we see Eagle the Archer. Eagle the Archer.
Oh yeah, make his return.
As someone from the Cleveland area, that was so dumb. This whole thing is he's from Cleveland, because Cleveland's literally useless, and he's so useless, so it's just so fitting. Yeah, but I mean, he's like Hawkeye. He's just like useless.
Yeah. Well, not useless. I don't know. I hope we see him in action. Remember, he ran out of arrows.
He ran out of arrows, and like, what are arrows against like any other modern weapon?
Hey, he's a homie though. He was helping the Deep out when he was at his lowest of lows.
Personality-wise, he's
and then he got fucked over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so I sympathize.
And the Deep basically kind of sold him out, or he kind of agreed to sell him out, because the Alistair was like, what do you guys think of Eagle? And the Deep's like, oh yeah, the Eagle's great. And then he's like, nope, Eagle's the worst person ever, and you're not supposed to associate with him. And the Deep's just like, oh.
Eagle the Archer.
That's just typical cult behavior.
He's a toxic personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause that's
So then
that's the exact language they use in Scientology is toxic personality.
Really?
Yeah.
toxic personality. And then they made up all that stuff about him with all the Photoshop stuff, and then craziness. But now Alistair's dead, so who knows what happens with the
Mhm.
church? Because apparently the Deep has spoken
I liked
negatively about
him.
the church. Who,
I liked
Alistair?
Alistair
I
a
really
lot.
liked him too, honestly. I really did. I thought his
I was
scene, like
disappointed.
his one meeting with a Stan Edgar, like that scene was so good where they're talking,
Yeah.
he's talking to Stan Edgar, trying to convince him to get those two, the Deep and A Train, back into the Seven. He's like, "Look, like I got these two guys, like they're ready to come
Oh
back."
my, yeah. I just thought of something. This is gonna be my theory before season 3 comes out, but I think Victoria Newman is gonna die, and she's gonna be killed by Homelander as he gouges her eyes out with his like thumbs. Because you know how she can't use her powers if she can see,
Oh. Hmm.
and that's definitely something Homelander would do and make for one of those classic gory The Boys scenes.
See, I don't think they're gonna kill Newman quite yet. Like I think
Yeah,
they've
I think
kind of built
she's.
up her character. I think she's safe for season 3. Season 4 they might kill her. I think season 3
She's
she's
a
fine.
I think
she's a
she's gonna be
living
some kind of overarching villain that like lasts more than one season.
she's a living plot device.
Hmm.
I mean,
Seriously, like they could say anything, like blackmail. Like I feel like they're pulling so many things out of their asses this season.
just to try to excuse why people haven't died yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
kind of lazy writing if you ask me. But I mean, I still love the show.
Yeah, it becomes hard to try to explain why in a world full of superheroes and then just random human dudes, why the boys aren't wiped off the map. Because
Well, no,
in the
I understand. I understand if you think about it for what it is.
Yeah, because I mean, nothing really truly is stopping Homelander from going over to wherever the boys are hiding out at and lasering every single one of them, and then
Not
them
if they
playing
have
the title
Zinc.
card.
Not if they
Yeah,
have Zinc, yo.
that's
Yo,
true.
Batman can beat Superman. I have faith in Billy Butcher.
Yeah, dude, he might be able to do it. No, I mean, but if they were gonna take Victoria Newman out, I think I would rather have like somebody else do it. Just because I mean, Homelander, like, I think it's just obviously implied that Homelander can kill people. I think I would just rather see like a different soup do something. Like I think the show makes such a point of like how powerful Homelander is, and like they have him kill so many people, but I don't know. Personally, I feel like if you're going after Newman, I think Starlight would be a good counter because she could just burn her eyes out, and then
Hmm.
you could call it a day there. Um, but obviously, any of the soups could take her out. I think really, besides the Deep, I don't think the Deep could do it unless they were by water.
Oh, I got an idea. I think that one thing the Deep could do potentially, which is kind of out of the box, but like forcibly send her down into the dark depths of the ocean and like using like dolphins and mammals and stuff, and she starts like exploding their heads as they keep pushing her darker into darkness, and then finally she can't use her powers.
Oh gosh,
That's really random, but
that'd be such a crazy way to
yeah.
kill her off.
Dude, oh man, they should hire me.
No, maybe they shouldn't. Um,
Oh yeah. I might be remembering this wrong, but like, isn't Victor Newman in the comics like the vice president or something?
I believe she is. She's like yeah.
Yeah. So like, maybe they're gonna go that route, like where she just gains more power. Because right now she's just like a congresswoman. Maybe she'll like become vice president and then like have more
Oh
power and be
shit.
doing more crazy stuff and
Yeah.
possibly.
I want to know what her deal is with Vought because I feel like with how
Yeah.
powerful Vought is, I feel like this is all like an inside job. Like this organization that Newman is working for is like technically fake. Like I don't know if that like
Hmm.
all of the seven knows about it, but I think Edgar at the very top knows about it because
We don't
otherwise
even know who she's associated with.
she's kind of her own party. She's just like a wild card.
Yeah, it's like kind of her own plan. But there's like no motivation that we can see right now.
Yeah.
Right. How do you think it goes down with her and Huey? Because obviously, at some point in season 3, Huey's going to find out what she's up to. So, do you guys think that she gets she gets trapped, like Hughie gets trapped, or do you think he's able to know and then like is able to leave and like let the boys, like how do you think he finds out that Newman's like not good, and how do you think, like, is he going to be safe from her, or is it going to be a situation where it's like the season climax where he's trapped and the boys have to get him out?
Okay, I've got a couple ideas of how it could go down. Like either the thing, because right now with at the end of season 2, they're all kind of gone their separate ways in a sense. Like MM's with his family, Frenchie and Kimiko are doing their thing, and like Huey's working for Newman, and I don't know what's up with Butcher. He's insane. Um, so then I'm thinking maybe like the thing that brings them back together is Huey finds out like that she's a soup and she's doing all this crazy stuff, and he just like runs to MM or Butcher and he's like, "Oh my gosh, guys, like she's the actual evil here. We have to do something." And he's like fearing for his life because I don't know, maybe she found out that he knows, or he finds out at the very end of season 3, and like they're kind of working together in a sense. Then at the end, he's like, "Holy fuck! Like I've been doing the wrong thing this whole time."
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of agree with more of like the first prediction that you said. I think he finds out earlier on, and then the boys like try to watch. Like, I don't know if he tries some kind of plan where he tries to gain evidence like undercover, like he knows what she is, but then 'cause I feel like such like a Huey Campbell thing would be like he would stay there and then
Right.
try to get like undercover evidence, and MM would be like, "Dude, you're the dumbest person ever." And he'd be like, "No, don't worry, I got this." And then something's gonna go wrong where like he's gonna get in trouble or something.
hmm
And then, like, if they have to save him, like, who comes in to, like, try to save him? There's really so many ways, I think, with season 3, like, they could go. Like, the direction of the story. Like, they ended season 2 so well that it's like with season 3, they could really do anything I think they really want because they basically gave themselves a clean slate, like, story-wise.
Yeah, I think they did that really well too.
I think they did that on purpose.
So they can introduce in all these soups and stuff. So what are your predictions then for Frenchie and Kimiko in season 3 then, Pineapple? What do you think will happen and what do you hope will happen? And are those two the same thing or
Hmm. I don't know. I don't really know where to go with them. Like, of course, the little like fanfic writer me is like, ah, yes, they're living in a house that they, one of 8 Train's empty houses by the ocean, and they're just hanging out and baking, and then one day the boys are gonna knock on their door and all their peace is gonna be disrupted. But I don't know, it could really either go like more of the romantic route like that, or they could just be kind of like awkward roommates for a while. Like, I definitely don't think they're gonna have another like whole separation event like in season 2.
and
But
I hope not, because I'd rather
yeah,
see them like as far as like both ships go, like I'd rather just see both of the ships like progress because I think they've done so much work as far as the writing goes with both Huey Annie and Frenchie Kimiko to like make them go through so much together and then like come back and bond. I just don't see any reason to reset any of those arcs for really anything. Um, I think it would be nice to kind of see like Frenchie and Kimiko progress. I don't think they'll be the baking route like on the beach, but
yeah, exactly.
maybe in the
That's the
season.
dream, but
Yeah, maybe
yeah.
in the season finale. But you do bring up a good point though about like when you said like the boys will come knock on their door, because that made me realize like at the very end of the season all the boys are separated off, like they're not really together anymore, they're all doing their
Mhm.
own things. So how they all come back and like reorganize is going to be very interesting, how they play that card out, because obviously Butcher's going to be, I don't even know if Butcher's going to be in the mood for it. Like I don't know what this man's going to do. Like I don't know if
Yeah.
like he might be his own card. Like I almost wonder if it'll be, it'd be interesting. So how the show starts with Butcher trying to rally everybody together because like he's trying to get revenge.
Mhm.
What if in season 3 it's the boys trying to get Butcher back? Like they
Oh,
find
that'd
out
be
about
interesting.
Newman and they're trying to like convince him to come back and he doesn't want to do it. And
Yeah,
they're like they have to convince him.
I could see that happening.
I think I'd personally like to see something where maybe Butcher gets some kind of connection with Annie a little bit more, because I really liked that dynamic they played out in season 2, like in the 6th episode, where they kind of show how Butcher and Annie are actually alike in a lot of ways. And I thought their chemistry and just like their scenes like on screen were really good. So if they could find some way to have an excuse to have Butcher and Annie team back up again, like that would be really good. I think
Yeah.
that'd be cool to see.
Right.
And I remembered a weird, like, really specific thing that I think somebody mentioned. I think it was Kripke probably, like, these months ago. Something about how, like, we're gonna see that Kimiko likes, like, old musicals. And
Oh yeah, Hollywood movies,
yeah,
right?
yeah, like the old, like, I forget the ones that he named off, but, like, oh, the really iconic one, West Side Story, I think. And then there were a few others, and I was like, okay, there's got to be a reason that he brought this up specifically.
Yeah, and in hindsight, it's going to be so obvious, but right now it's so cryptic.
Yeah.
Although
Cryptic.
cryptic
Haha.
Kripke, yes sir. And no, I think here's the problem though with Kripke is like after the damn near stress this guy put me through for season 2, I don't know if I can really trust him anymore. Because if you read like what he said about Starlight's character in season 2, like it was so bad. Like I remember reading it and I was literally like, oh my gosh, like her character is done for. Like he
Oh.
did an interview where he was like, yeah, she's not with Hughie. Like her relationship is like fraught. Like she goes through so much stuff and we don't think she'll be able to mentally make it through this season. Like her entire character's broken. Like she goes through so much stress. Like she probably will not recover. And I was just like, so
She's dead.
sad. And then
Yeah.
you look, and I'm probably gonna put this in the YouTube portion, like the clip of it. It's like the end of the season is like her just like smiling, like with Hughie. Like you get that scene, and like if you put those two things together, like those do not go together at all. Like, oh yeah, I don't think
Exactly.
she'll make it through the season. And you just cut to the finale where it's like her and Hughie are just like lovebirds, and she looks like the happiest person on the planet. Like, gosh dang it, Kripke.
Mm-hmm.
But that was okay though, because that made that payoff really good. Because I was expecting the worst for her. So I guess on the bright side, my expectations, like what happened, was way better than what I thought. So hopefully the same goes for him in season 3. Because right now my expectations are that I'm not gonna like the way season 3 goes for her and Huey. So hopefully I get proven wrong again.
Don't say that, VP.
Nah, man, I'm gonna be pessimistic about it because so far it doesn't look good.
And then you'll get much better than what you're expecting.
Hopefully. I was joking with one of my friends today. I said, "What if a supersonic kills Huey?" And he's like, "Dog, if that happens, we're gonna riot. Like you can't." Could you imagine? That'd be such a drastic difference from the comics if they actually make Supersonic like a main character guy. Because I saw a clip from Kripke where there was an interview that he did. I think it was with Entertainment Weekly, and he said in season 3 that he kind of wants to show that no character is safe and that he wants the audience to feel like tense the whole time. And so that makes me think they're gonna kill off somebody that makes you go like, "Whoo!" And I'm
Who
like,
do you think?
I personally think it's gonna
Frenchie?
be Maeve or Elena.
Yeah, I could see that.
The reason why I say Maeve is because I think she's going to get in trouble because if you remember after season 1, she was supposed to watch after Starlight. Like Homelander said, she's your responsibility.
Personally, I don't think so, but I can't say anything because I read the comics.
But I mean, the show's technically, I think, going a different route. So, I mean, technically the prediction is still valid. I mean, I think Elena, I could definitely see Homelander killing Elena. Like get back at Maeve, because I feel like that'd be the type of mind games Homelander would play. Like he wouldn't kill Maeve, he would just kill Elena to make Maeve miserable. Like he would just want to keep her alive and keep her miserable.
I have no idea what to expect.
A weird part of me thinks it's going to be Huey, but I just don't see how they could do that. Like
You can't do that.
Like I just don't see like
What?
if they would kill Huey off.
They'd lose at least half their viewers.
They would all the people coming in for to see Soldier Boy would replace all of the people that would leave when Huey dies.
Jeez. That's true.
Like, dude, you know what would be an interesting like plot thing though I think the only way I'd be fine with Huey dying, and I say this in the sense of like I would be pissed either way if it happened, but the only way that I would kind of maybe accept it, like if Homelander killed him, I'd just be pissed because I just don't really like Homelander, so I would just be like, okay, great, like this dude's just ruining everything, like thanks for that. But if Annie like went rogue on him and like straight up like executed him, and it wasn't like she was forced to do it, like she literally just like did it, like it would be such a like a heel turn for her character to just outright just kill Huey. It would just be one of those moments that would just be so shocking, but I think it would just be like you would almost have to respect it because you would just be like there's no way you saw it coming, and it just
Maybe
happened.
in the end, but totally not season 3.
Could you imagine like the very end of the season, like they like Huey and Annie, like it looks like they're going to have like a happy ending, and then
Mm,
all of a sudden, like before, like right before it ends, like Starlight just executes them, and then the screen just goes black or something.
dude.
Like they
Yeah.
just, like you just be like, wait, what?
That'd be off the rails. I don't know.
They're like sleeping together in pink sands, but this time she actually like when her eyes light up, she actually makes them purposely kill him. That was just getting crazy.
Anything's possible, but I don't
This is just
know.
this is getting crazy. So yeah, I mean, I think we definitely gotten like pretty crazy with our season 3 and season 5 predictions and stuff. But I guess I kind of want to almost circle back to what we talked about in the beginning because your account is from Tumblr. So you kind of want to tell us a little bit about like the Tumblr side of the fandom. You touched on it a little bit, but just about kind of what the Tumblr site is like and what kind of content is on there in general and just all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I honestly don't know a ton about the Instagram fandom, but I guess I don't know. There's the drama's very, very minimal. I don't know how much there is on Instagram, but there's like hardly anything goes on that front. I don't know. There's a lot of people who just like to take the show and make just like their own creations off of it, whether that's like edits or gifs or like photo things or fan fiction. A lot of just that getting like spread around and everything. And like with the memes too, it's like a totally different kind of thing. Like I don't know if you see those like Tumblr screenshots of like text posts that are just like really weird and random.
Yeah.
It's sort of like that, but focused on the boys.
Those are hilarious, and I think the people that do them, they do them so well because it's like whenever I read them, it's like stuff like I feel like for me, like it'd be hard for me to write something like that, but like whenever I read them, I'm always like, oh yeah, this sounds exactly like what like I read a lot of the Annie and Huey ones. I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds exactly like what they would say. Like there was one funny one I saw. I don't know why I remember this. It was super random, but it was like Annie and Huey bringing in groceries. Huey extends out his hand, and then it's like to like grab a bag of groceries, and then it's like Annie switches all of the groceries to one hand so she can hold Huey's hand, and Huey's just like,
Yes.
"That's not what I was trying to. You know what? Okay, never mind." And then there was another one where it was like, oh gosh, it was something like I don't remember it now. It was something like, I don't want to make you mad. And it was like, why? It's like, because you're scary when you're angry. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's a valid point. Just something like that. I don't know. They're
Yeah.
funny.
And another thing is there's like a fair amount of Huey Busher shippers on Tumblr. I don't know how much of that there is anywhere else, but there's like you see a lot more of that than Huey Annie, I think.
Yeah, that is interesting. I've seen a lot of that Twitter. I've seen a lot of it on Twitter. Instagram doesn't do a lot of the shipping stuff from what I've seen. There's not a lot of that on there.
Yeah. And it's not all shipping, of course, but like
Right.
you get a good amount of it.
Yeah, I know Butcher Huey is definitely like a really big popular one. I honestly wish there was more Huey Annie stuff, and I'm kind of shocked that there's not. But I guess I kind of understand why. Like, I guess the point of, like, for me, The Boys is the first fandom that I've ever been in that has to do with like a TV show. So I didn't really understand like how it worked and like the whole like fan fiction side of it and everything. Like, I didn't really get it. Like, I'm still kind of learning all of that now. But I guess like the main point of like fan fiction is things like that is that people write stuff that don't exist in the show and obviously make up
Right.
their own like thing So I guess for a lot of people, like Huey and Annie are basic. They're vanilla. They're like your standard couple. Like there's no reason to write anything for them. Like instead, like you would write something that's not in the show, like ship Huey with somebody else or ship him with Butcher or, like things like that.
Right. Because like the show gives you all the Huey Annie content, and everyone else has to make up for their own stuff. So I think that's why you see it a lot more.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Although I'll argue there's never enough Huey Annie content,
Okay, I can see that for sure.
If anyone from Tumblr's listening to this who's a fanfic writer, just do like a 10 million page Huey Annie essay. I'll read it. All right, that's my ask.
Yeah, I'm sure you could find a lot on I don't know if you've heard of Archive of Our Own, but that's where all the fan fiction is.
I think actually, shockingly, because I went on there once, there's actually nothing for them. I think there's like 2.
Really?
That's it. There's fan fiction, I think in general for the boys is like super low. Like there's not much at all. And like a lot of it is like, I think there's maybe, I think there's like 4 Huey Annie ones.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, there's not much at all like on any platform, which is interesting. But yeah, AO3 specifically, there's nothing really on there.
Honestly, I don't know a whole lot about Tumblr. It seems kind of fun though.
Yeah, it's very different for sure. Like for a long time, I don't know, I just saw screenshots and whatever, and I didn't really get it. Like you just kind of got to be on there to get it. I mean, it's not that it's that weird, but I don't know. It's a bit different for sure.
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot of GIFs on Tumblr though. Like from what I've seen, like I don't have an account on there, but I've went on there just to browse from time to time. I see a lot of people make GIFs and stuff, which is definitely really nice.
Yeah.
I think one of the problems with the boys in general is because it's not like a really big show. It's hard to find like GIFs of stuff, and a lot of the characters like names are super basic and niche. So if you look it up, you're just gonna get like random stuff. Like if I search like Starlight GIFs, right? It's gonna give me probably My Little Pony Starlight. It's gonna give me actual like nature, like stars, and then maybe a little bit of Starlight from the boys. If you would search like Mother's Milk GIFs, I don't even know what you would get.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know.
Yeah,
if
you wouldn't want to look that up.
I don't know if you want. I don't know if I want to know what you get if you search that. And then if you search up the boys GIFs, it's like, wow, the boys is such a general like name, like the boys. Wow, great. So you're probably just gonna get like, I don't know. It's a lot of the characters are just like named very. I know there's another one that comes to mind, but I can't think of it right now. What's another character that it's just like a name for just like a basic.
Yeah, I mean, if you went like butcher gifts, you just get like some like actual butcher.
Yeah, like butchering stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, translucent.
Right. Well, there couldn't be many gifs of him anyway, but even if there was, yeah. Gifs of him are nowhere to be found, just like his character. Haha. Sick joke.
So, who's your favorite character between those two?
So between Frenchie and Kimiko, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could pick one. It's like I see like some parts of myself in Kimiko, like not a lot, but some. But I just like really love Frenchie because I'm just a sucker for garbage white boys. I don't know. I'll just compromise and say Kenji because he's so underrated. I love him.
Oh yeah, her brother. Yeah.
Realistically, they're both even.
Okay, so here's the $1 million question then. You have to kill one of them.
Okay. I would kill. It depends, I guess, because the thing about Kimiko is she's probably immortal to an extent. So would it be worse for her to watch Frenchie, or like die of aging? Well, I guess that'd be if both of them are alive. Would it be worse for her to like just watch him die, and then just keep living for a long time, or for her to die and then Frenchie would just kind of die eventually in a normal span of time? Just because they both suffer either way.
I think Kimiko could definitely get by though without having like I feel like if Frenchie died, like she'd be affected by it, but not nearly as much. I think if Kimiko died, Frenchie would be wrecked by it, and you kind of see like a teaser of that, like when she fights Black Noir and it looks like she's dead.
Yeah.
And then he's like kind of like crying, and then she like starts to resurrect, and he's like, "What is happening?"
And I guess if you kill Frenchie, then that gives Kimiko like a ton of motivation to destroy like any soups or whatever, like for just until
I
he
I
drops
think
dead.
I think he already is kind of like that because after Lamplighter, but
Mhm.
I see what you mean. He'd have more incentive.
Oh, I mean Kimiko. If Frenchie died, then
Oh,
Kimiko would have all that incentive.
yeah,
Yeah, and she could do more with it than Frenchie. You know.
true. She already kind of does because her brother, right?
Which that scene with their brother is an interesting one too, because it like the way they handle Kenji is very similar to how they handle Translucent. Like they have him trapped like on a boat, and like Translucent they had him trapped like underground. You know,
Yeah,
they both get free because one of the characters tries to bring them food, and then they use the food to break out and
I
whatever.
didn't even realize that parallel. That's okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I think it's Huey that like sympathizes with Translucent, and he tries to bring him like dips or something, and then Frenchie tries to sympathize with Kenji, and
Mhm.
is like, "Oh, because I want to get to know Kimiko. Like, can you help me? Like, whatever." And he brings him like chips and a drink, and then Kenji uses it to like break free.
Yeah, didn't even think about that. That's interesting.
I guess one thing we didn't really ask up at the top, but what made you actually get into the boys? This is something we've asked everybody so far. Like, what got you into the show itself, or like how did you like find out about it? I guess, and like what
Yeah.
made you watch it outside of
Right.
Frenchie and
Okay.
Kimiko? I guess.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know. I was seeing like the trailers and whatever for season one, and I don't know. Amazon Prime's like the only streaming service I have or whatever. So I just kind of watch whatever looks interesting because I don't know. I just watch TV like while I'm doing stuff around the house. So that was just one of the shows I put on one day, and I was moderately into it. Um, and then I forgot about it for a while between season one and two. And then when season two was coming out, I was like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot about this show. There's actually, I don't know. I was like, it's kind of cool, but I don't know if I'll watch season two. And then I remembered the whole Frenchie and Kimiko thing, and I rewatched it, and I'm like, oh, I need so much more of this in my life. So then I got like full blown into the fandom and everything from there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. I guess so. Coming from somebody, because we've kind of talked about a little bit, I guess, like how the show like they almost like force ship Huey and Annie, and Kimiko and Frenchie are kind of sidelined. Does that I guess frustrate you in a way about how like Frenchie and Kimiko don't really get like that much screen time together? That they're kind of like almost sidelined in a sense
Yeah, I
throughout the
think like
show.
the moments they have are really good, but it's so few compared to everything else. And just like the amount of like we've had to see, I don't know, a bunch of sex scenes and whatever with like all the other couples of any sort, whether it's like Homelander and Stormfront or whatever, and we can't even see like we couldn't even see them hug like in that one part at the end of episode 8 season 2 because like
Right.
Huey and Annie hug and then you like presumably Frenchie goes to hug Kamiko, but we can't even see that, whereas we're seeing like all this other garbage from the ships I don't care about, but not garbage, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, well, maybe though, is that kind of maybe? Do you think though, is that more of a testament to Kamiko's character that the way they've wrote her so far is like really reserved and quiet, and like having her like have like an outright like even maybe hug Frenchie would still be maybe a little bit too much for her character at this point. Like maybe she hasn't bonded with him that much yet.
I could see that for sure, but yeah, I guess just like all the interactions that they've had have been really good. It's just there are very few for sure.
Yeah, and it almost makes you want more in a sense because you don't get a lot of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I mean, Frenchie and Kimiko are pretty good. I mean, they're definitely not my favorite, obviously, but hopefully, I'd still like to see them do good in season 3 and like, just kind of progress and everything.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Because I know they're adding in a bunch of new characters for season 3, so I'm really curious how that bites into the screen time of everybody else. Because if you're
Right.
adding in like a whole bunch of like superheroes and stuff, like especially like Soldier Boy and things like that, like how does that cut into the screen time of like these these little like plot things, like a lot of people don't really care about the ships and the boys. So how does that cut into the screen time of both of the ships that are ongoing? It'll be interesting to see if they make time for it or not.
Yeah, and not even that, just like the more, I don't want to call MM a minor character, but he just does not get enough, I don't know, screen time and stuff into his background and everything. So I'm hoping for more of that from season 3 as well.
Yeah, that would be really nice to see his background.
Oh, this is really random. So yeah, I saw this thing where they said like something more insane than whatever we've seen is gonna happen like before Herogasm. So,
Right.
and I mean, I'm sure they're always saying that about everything. Like, it's gonna be more insane.
It'll definitely be whatever it is. It's going to be insane. I imagine it's going to be a lot of death, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I know because I think with season 3, hopefully they do a little bit of a better job of. I don't know if you felt the same way about season 2 as I did, but for me, the first couple episodes of season 2 were like kind of boring in a sense.
Yeah,
Like
I could see that.
I didn't really enjoy those two. And I just kind of hope that like season 3, like, I mean, I want it to get off to a good start. I don't want it to be like an insane start, which it sounds like it's going to be an insane start. So we'll see how crazy it is. But I think I would like for it to just, I don't know, just have a good pace, I guess, throughout the season, Because I felt like season 2, like there were some episodes where it's just like it feels like nothing happens. And then other episodes where like so much happens and it's like, okay, what is happening? So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so overall, though, I think season 3 is going to be really exciting. I'm hyped for it, but in the meantime, people can check out, while you're waiting for season 3, you can browse all the fan made content. There's still a lot of people out there making content for the boys and posting about it. So, one people you can check out if you like Frenchie and Kimiko, you can go check out Pineapples Perhaps. 800 followers, right?
Yeah, the pineapples perhaps got around 500. But
500. We'll make it
the Fuck Yeah, the
800.
boys.
If you're
Okay,
listening to it, make it
we're trying to
800.
get there.
We got to make it 800. Send everybody over there. Make a Tumblr account. Follow it. Get it to 800. That's the goal. So
You will not be let down. I promise.
perfect. Especially if you like Frenchie and Kimiko.
Yeah, and then just for anything the boys related or all, that would be Fuck Yeah, the Boys Prime. .tumblr.com.
Sweet. And that one's at 800, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. We got
it up there.
We got to get that one to 1,000. That's the goal.
I
If you
hope
listen to
so.
this, push it to 1,000. Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on. It was fun to talk about Frenchie and Kimiko because that is something that we have not discussed yet too much on the pod. So it's kind of neat to, get that perspective.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been
Yeah,
an
it was
honor
awesome.
to talk about the best ship in boys. No offense, but also
best ship.
yes.
I'll stay reserved.
All right. It was great having you on. You were a great guest. Everybody, please follow her pages. It will be in the link in the description. And you guys are the real heroes. Tune in next time for episode 5. Peace out.
Bye.